Hello, I'm Transformers fan G138. I'm here with a video review of Transformers Generations thrilling 30th anniversary Megatron IDW style. And honestly, this guy is kind of good. I mean, I actually liked his design in the comics. It didn't last long. In fact, right after they announced this, they ceased to use the model in the show, in the comic book. I'm like, really? You just put out a toy for this and you're not using it? Okay. And he pretty much beat up Optimus and then gave up. But when he first got his body, when he first showed up, he killed one of my faves. Well, he didn't actually kill him because he came back, but yeah. Anyway, so he comes with his Spotlight issue Megatron comic. And honestly, it's basically him beating up Starscream. Yep, essentially that's what it is. So, I've read this twice now. Once with the IDW cover, once with the Hasbro cover. Same story, different day. It's basically, the comic basically shows off this guy in vehicle mode and in robot mode and beating on Starscream. So it's nothing new, it's nothing special. Did it add anything to the story? No. Basically, it's something to show off the toy, so people go gaga over the comic books. Or at least kids do. Supposedly. I guess that's how it's supposed to work. So yeah, this is underside. Notice I did not turn the head around when transforming him, and it's kind of hard to see in this light, but you notice he's actually looking down at you. So next time I transform this, I will spin the head around. Let's see, anything. He does have landing gear here, which it's kind of loose, and as soon as you put pressure on it, it kind of like sinks back in. And there's molded here and here, but the hands actually sit lower, so it supports on the hands instead of those pieces. And not the best design, but it works. It's a plane. It's a flying wing. It's a cool design. I like it. I really like this. It's like, this looks just like... It just looks like it's going to kill you. And, you know, it's cool. I like it. So now... Anything else? Nope, I think that covers it. It's Megatron. You might not come through too well, but he's covered in sparkly plastic, which I've heard tends to crumble. I have not had an experience where that plastic has crumbled, although I don't have too many toys with the sparkly stuff in it. I do, however, know that the tips of the wings, which end up forming his fusion cannon, are painted and have slightly more metallic flecks in them than the rest of the plastic and a slightly darker color. Is it, like, unless you're really looking at it, you don't notice. And on some points where the paint is thin, like on the end of this side, you can see the transparent purple plastic through the wing. But to start off the transformation, he asks us to pull these off. And these are on there nice and tight. This little clip here actually clips onto this tab inside the wing, preventing you from transforming the cannon while it's plugged in. And it's not going to just randomly fall off. And that is nice and secure. Which they added some paint on there too, so it's not bad. Next, we'll fold this piece up and put these two together. And lastly, we'll take our fingers, grab this piece, and pull these back, transforming it into the fusion cannon. And literally, it's just pulling these two things back, causing that to go forward, separating the panels, and making this really cool cannon. And honestly, this cannon is so overpowered, it's not even funny. I mean, it literally was like, it shot through a asteroid and through Hot Rod and everything, and I don't think it's actually shown in use. I think he used it like twice, maybe, in the entire comic books. But anyway, and now you have this odd flying saucer thing without wings. Anyway, these make it. It makes it really good. Next, we are just going to untap the arms and the legs, and we'll start off with the legs here. We'll pull these down and around, and this out. Pull this down, out, around. I actually opened up the instructions for this guy, and it's not very clear on the legs. It is after a while, but it's really not. Next, we pull down the foot, and the heel is actually separate from the foot there. And then you pull this down for now. We untab the rest of this from here and just slide it down. Fold this section down so it rests on top of where the legs are. There we go. And we take, now you have the front of the ship on his chest here. So at this point, we bend this down further and tab these into this. And that might take some finagling because the whole lower leg abdomen mount moves. And once you get it in the right spot, it'll work. But until it's in that right spot, don't count on it. Now I can't get it down. First down, then down. There we go. And once this is together, it's together. But until it's together, it's a pain. And there we go. Now it's together. So once you have those in, it becomes a lot easier. And now you see it's revealed the Decepticon logo on his chest plate, which is kind of cool. I like it. Next, we fold this up, and this, something like that. This little hook thing tabs into the shoulder here, so pegs in like this. Next, we tab this in over here, similar way. And that gives us the space between here. Lastly, bring these down, separate them there, and rotate these around to make his giant gorilla arms of IDW awesomeness. Then we just kind of flip out the hands. We also notice, while doing that, he's got cannons under his, like, sleeves there. Like, choo 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 choo. So he can go choo 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 without his fusion cannon. Which is always nice to know. Megatron has some hidden tricks up his sleeve. Also, these things back here can fold in a bit to create that kind of V-looking pattern on the back of his legs. Not perfectly, but he does. It kind of hides some of the hollowness there. At best, it gives him a decent appearance. Now, I just like the looks of this guy. When he first showed up, it was like predictable but menacing. It was like, whoa. Again, his feet don't move, but he does have the angled flatness, so he can have the wider stance. That is followed up with a little bit of movement in the leg, plus the V here that likes to unpop or pop. It doesn't really matter. Then you have a well over 90-degree bend in the knee, plus the free-floating knee guard, which can move. You have the swivel just above the knee, and then a ball and socket joint hip. No waist swivel, obviously due to the transformation of the waist there. I don't see how they could have put one in here. Like Bumblebee, they easily could have. Next, you have the head, which is on a ball and socket, but it's hard to make him look up. He can look down disapprovingly at somebody. And, I mean, I just placed him in the shadow like that, and that just looks awesome. Then, you know, he looks awesome. I love this guy. I don't know if he's going to replace my Classics Megatron on my shelf or not, but he looks awesome. Do I like the purple hands? No. I preferred gray hands, but the rest of the hidden purple in there still. So yes, we'll grab his fusion cannon now. Oh, first I'll do the rest of the articulation here. He's got a ball and socket joint here on his arm, as well as a hinge in the air, so you can really do some cool poses. Swivel just below that, and then he's got a friction hinge. Not a lot of hand movement, but he can hold stuff, which is always good to know. Any 5mm standard weapon. And then you've got the awesome wings of fusion cannons. And that plugs into either arm, which is awesome. And this is compatible with other Megatron figures as well, such as anything with a 5mm port on the side. So it does not work well with Generations Megs. But the first Generations Megatron. And this is actually the second Generations Megatron in the line. And then you've got repaints of the first mold. This guy does have plans for remold. It's going to be remolded as Dreadwing. And I think this is one of my favorites. At least, probably my second favorite out of the set. Right after Orion Pax. I mean, it's a good figure. I like the transformation. It's a little hard in between the two modes. Like, everything just flops around until you get it locked in place. But when you get it locked in place, this thing is awesome in both modes. I'm actually tempted to get a second one just to display it in the flying wing mode. I mean, this guy is awesome. He's very short, so he's more proportionate to the Fall Cybertron guys than he is himself, even compared to Generation Starscream, which I don't have handy, unfortunately. However, we put him up against Classic Starscream, and compared to the sketches in the comic book, which I cannot show you, due to legal reasons, this guy stands about the same height. And this way, these two actually are in scale with each other. And I think that's just fantastic. I mean, even the Generations Megatron, which he's in a set of armor right now, so I'll grab my alternate color of him. And we'll notice, even this guy compared to Starscream, this guy a little bit taller than Starscream. Starscream realistically should be the same height as Megatron, according to most comics and sketches, unless you're talking Transformers Prime. So I think this is a better fit for Classic Starscream. Although Starscream, compared to other Decepticons, is actually rather short. The toy, not the actual character model. So, for the Classic Seekers, this guy works well. But, as far as the rest of the line goes, if we grab, let's see, who do we have here? If we grab, for example, a standard car. This Megatron looks really, really tiny compared to this guy. I mean, this is a Runamuck, I think, or Runabout, whatever they called him, club exclusive, out of the Wheeljack mold, but you can still see the size variance there. And I mean, this Megatron looks legit to that size here. He towers over him. I mean, this one's taller, but the head proportionate, And, I mean, if we went to scale with the comic book, when he killed Hot Rod is about this big. So, and we grab Rodimus here. Rodimus is actually taller than him. It helps if I put that on camera. He's actually taller. So, where at least this Megatron is taller than him. So I think I like the scale of the first generation's Megatron better, but I really, really like the way this looks. I highly recommend this figure, even if you're not putting him in your collection as, per se, your Classics Megatron, because let's face it, he's not a Classics Megatron. It's nothing like the original Megatron. But it is very close to the IDW armor he had for a while. There, this was like a really cool design, and they didn't do very much with it. They really didn't do much with it. I do like all the hidden M's on him that they had in the comic book that they carried over to this, like here, here, and here. I mean, all around, this guy is a great, great, great figure, except for the tiny little issues I have. Like, there's a little bit of mispaint here on his cheek. I can grab a little X-Acto blade and scratch that off, which I'm probably going to end up doing. But I didn't want to do before I did the review. I have a policy of not modifying the figures I have for my collection. If I want to modify them, I'll buy a second one and modify it, but I mean, that's just a little paint cleanup. That's removing paint that shouldn't be there to begin with. Overall, the quality control is actually pretty good on this guy. Just a little bit of paint there on his cheek. Not sure if that was just a glob on the machine. I don't know. Who knows? I don't care. This guy is fantastic. Highly, highly recommend this figure. Much better than Bumblebee. I would even say better than Trail Cutter. And honestly, he's in perfect scale with the Orion Pax figure. I mean, he's designed to be in scale with Orion Pax, you know? I mean, Orion Pax looks a little bit short, but he was in the original cartoon. Not in the comic book, but he's in a perfect scale with him for the comic book. So, that being that, I think this guy, both of these guys right here, are very highly recommended out of the set. These two come with my highest recommendations. Which, honestly, I might give out high recommendations, but this one I say, unless you're really against the IDW comic books, pick this guy up. If not for a shelf piece, just to play with. He's just fun. And a lot of people forget these are toys. This is why when people get upset with me for opening them, I say, whatever, that's what I enjoy about them. I enjoy the puzzle, transformation, throwing them on a shelf, putting them in different poses, maybe changing it up once in a while. I love this figure. It's fun. It's a fun Megatron. It's not a Megatron for the sake of being a Megatron. It's a fun Megatron. That being said, I think that concludes my video review. So, other than the few minor things I had about the paint, overall, it's a very decent figure. If you have any questions about Megatron, please post a comment down below. I'll be glad to answer them. If you have any requests for video reviews, please post down below. I'll be posting these video reviews shortly, so yeah. I think that's it, so without further ado, hope you enjoyed, and thanks for watching. Just for fun.